Hey, looks like you're getting snow pretty soon. Yeah. So, there's now 25 people in there, and
Good morning, everybody.
okay, we got it.
It's
Can you hear it?
it's great to
Can you
see
hear?
such a full house here today. And snow behind you. It's awesome. It's beautiful. Before we get started, I just want to kick it over to Bobby Murphy to formally call our 2025 annual meeting to order.
Jim, thank you. And good morning, everybody. My name is Bobby Murphy. It is Tuesday, December 2nd, 2025, and I'd like to call to order this annual meeting of the Beaver Creek Resort Company of Colorado.
Excellent. Thanks, Bobby.
Thanks, Jim.
It's great to see so many familiar faces here today. For those of you who I don't know, my name is Jim Clancy. I'm the executive director at the Beaver Creek Resort Company. And we really appreciate everybody being here. Like I said a minute ago, such a great turnout, and it's great to see this kind of engagement here in the community. It's just an incredibly exciting time of year here in Beaver Creek. We're so fortunate. We kick off the season with a great opening and tons of activation in the village, and then we just jump right into the anticipation around Birds of Prey, and we're looking good for some ski racing this weekend, and then the holidays are in the air as well. So there's just so much anticipation and excitement here in Beaver Creek, and with the snow, and we're really turning into a winter wonderland. So it's great to see. We have what I hope will be a very informative presentation for you today. I'm going to start with a couple of quick housekeeping items. We do have an hour and a half scheduled for today's meeting. We anticipate the presentation taking right about an hour, so we will have time for questions and answers at the end. So please have those ready. For those of you in the room, we'll come around with a mic to ask your questions. For those of you online, you can either type in your questions into the chat and we'll go through those, or maybe we can you'll have the opportunity to ask your questions live. So we have a great presentation for you today, like I said. We're going to go through a handful of things. We'll talk briefly about who the Beaver Creek Resort Company is. I know that sometimes there's some confusion about how we fit into the community. We'll go through a little 2025 year in review and look at how our budget wrapped up for the year. We'll look at our 2026 budget, which the intent will be to ratify that at our board meeting immediately following this meeting. We will get an update on our economic development activity and our events. Bobby Murphy, our president, will provide some comments there. We'll get some operational updates from village operations, mountain operations, and food and beverage. And last but not least, the Vail Valley Foundation will be here to share some of the things they've got going on, as well as Cameron Morgan will give us a bit of an update on what to expect this winter at the Villar. So with that, we're going to jump right in. As you can see, it's a full agenda. So first and foremost, we have to start by thanking our board of directors at the Beaver Creek Resort Company. We have a great board of directors, and we are so fortunate to have a collection of board members who are so committed to the success of Beaver Creek. As you can see, our board members represent all of our constituent groups. So they represent our homeowners, they represent the mountain, they represent all of our businesses and lodging community. So we have a great representation of our board here today. And I know I have to speak for our team because you guys support so much of what we do and so many of the initiatives that you're going to hear about today. Without our board, none of that work happens. So we're very appreciative of our board. And additionally, our board is an extremely tenured group. We have 4 board members who have been with us for over 10 years. Bob Baselli and Phil Metz have both been on the board for 10 years now. Jeff Luker has been on the board for 14 years now. And Mr. Brian Nolan has been on the board for 36 years. So thank you. We do have some voting matters today. We have 3 board seats up for election. We have our Class A, Class B, and Class D board seats open. All 3 of these are running uncontested, so we'll formalize the results. But Mike Trueblood, we look forward to having you on the board for a 2nd term. Bob Baselli, we look forward to having you for a 6th term. Thank you. And Theron, I know you just joined us in March, but we look forward to you continuing to serve on the board for many years to come. So thank you. All right, moving on. So very quickly, I want to talk briefly about who the Beaver Creek Resort Company is and how we fit into the community. We are a very unique organization in that we're a combined homeowners association and resort association, and we're committed to keeping the resort a unique world-class community from everything we do here in the community. We are 501c4. We're governed by a board of directors, as I mentioned earlier, and we represent all of the constituent groups, all of the members here in Beaver Creek. Our purpose, as written in our Articles of Incorporation going back to 1980, is to promote the health, safety, and welfare while fostering a desirable community for all owners, lessees, and guests. And that sounds very vague, but it really sums up a lot of the work that we do at the resort company. So how do we serve the community? We serve the community through providing a number of services. We're going to hear a lot about the marketing, events, and activations we do. We'll hear a lot about, or we'll talk a bit about transportation, I'm sure. I think Lee's going to bring us up to speed on that. And we provide the transportation services along with the Beaver Creek Metro District. That's a partnership we have with them. We provide municipal services where we maintain the village and all the common spaces. And we're focused on community quality through our DRB operation. And we've been very engaged lately in capital projects and strategic investments into the community. So those are all some areas where we are very focused on delivering a high level experience here in Beaver Creek. And I have to say that there's no way we could do all of the great work we're doing without our team. Our team has evolved tremendously over the last 3 years. Our team has grown. We've taken on a lot of new responsibility. And it's so great to see our team very cohesive in delivering our vision and our mission for the resort. And I'm really just so incredibly proud of how well our team works together to deliver all of these aligned services across all of our many lines of business. So as much as we can't do this work without our team, we definitely can't do this work without our many partners in the community. I'll start off by recognizing Vail Resorts. Obviously, Vail Resorts is the mountain operator. They operated the mountain. They operate everything that takes place on the mountain from F&B to ski school, all that. They're also our primary retail space owner here in the village, and they operate a lot of the retail operations here in the village. Next, we partner very closely with the Beaver Creek Metro District. I see some board members here today from the Metro District. Metro District is a quasi-municipal district, and they're responsible for a lot of the resort's infrastructure, streets, roads, utilities, things like that. And we partner very closely with them on a number of projects. I mentioned transportation, but the other big one that we partner with the Metro District on is wildfire mitigation. We have invested I don't know how many millions of dollars collectively over the last 5 or 6 years, but it's been a huge investment that has been a partnership half and half with the Metro District. So thank you for that. The Vail Valley Foundation is another crucial partner for us. As you know, we're coming into Birds of Prey right now, and they produce that event. They also manage and operate the Villar Performing Arts Center, which is one of Beaver Creek's greatest assets. So we have an agreement with them to operate that facility, which is a tremendous partnership. And like I said, Cameron will provide you some updates on how that's looking for the winter. And last but not least, the Beaver Creek Property Owners Association is a tremendous partner for us here in the community. Their role in the community is to advocate for homeowners and community engagement. And they also partner with us very heavily on projects. They contributed some fixed furniture down at Creekside Park when we brought that together. They helped partner with us on the new Helmet Fricker bronze in the village. If you haven't seen it, I don't know how you haven't seen it, but it's out there and it looks great. So without these partnerships, we don't get the lion's share of our work done. So hopefully that provides a little context on who does what here in the community. Another thing that we've taken on a great deal of focus on lately is advocacy. We feel strongly that it's our duty to advocate for and to protect the greater good of the Beaver Creek community. And we leverage all of the partnerships I just mentioned as we're out advocating in the community at large. We also work very closely with the Vail Valley Partnership. Mr. Dawsey and I both sit on the board of directors for the partnership. We work closely with many local entities, including the county commissioners and county staff, the town of Avon, town of Vale. We work closely with all of those entities to make sure we're aligned in things that are happening in the community as a whole. Some examples of the advocacy we've taken part in the last few years. We testify at the state level and the county level when there's things going on that are concerning. The most recent example is the lodging tax increase. Before that, the county was able to engage in that as a ballot measure. We were testifying at the state Senate and House of Representatives in opposition of that possibility. So we then led the campaign in opposition of that tax increase, which unfortunately did not go our way, but we will continue to look for those opportunities. One success we did have this year was with short-term rental registration. The county was looking very closely at engaging a short-term rental licensing program for all of unincorporated Eagle County. Thanks mostly to the efforts of Aaron Jarvis, we got in front of the county. We spoke to them many, many times, and got them to just not proceed with that because we felt very strongly that was going to be an administrative burden for the many short-term rentals here in Beaver Creek. And it was a duplicative effort because we already have a business license for those folks. We sit on the EGE Air Alliance, where we advocate for new flights and new routes into the Eagle Airport, which is a great opportunity. And going back a few years, we were very involved in advocating for Core Transit, which has been a huge addition to the community. It's been very well received, and it's been a tremendous asset to the community. So with all that said, I'm going to look briefly at some of our financials for 2025 and our budget for 2026. But before we do that, it's important to look at some of our funding sources. So very quickly, what you'll see here is civic and lodging. We have a civic and lodging assessment, which is anything you purchase in the village, whether it's a product or whatnot, and a lodging assessment. That makes up about 41% of our annual revenue. Mountain recreation assessment, which is anything on the mountain, F&B, ski school, those kinds of things, lift passes. That makes up about 29% of our annual revenue. Real estate transfer assessments, which I believe most of you are familiar with, make up about 23% of our annual revenue. And that's really the one item in our budget that's a bit of a wild card. So we're very conservative in how we project that, because that can really tip our budget one direction or the other. And last but not least, 7% of our revenue is from other sources. So that's things like special event revenue, ice rink revenue, Hawks Nest Cabin, hiking center, day camp, and investment interest revenue. So financial results for 2025, we had another very good year. Overall, our revenues exceeded budget by 8.6%, which is great. And that was largely driven by another really strong year of real estate transfer assessments, which exceeded budget by 25% this year. Like I said, we're conservative when we lay out those numbers, because we don't really know what to expect from the real estate market. So we're conservative there. And despite the favorable results relative to our budget, our assessment revenues were down about 4.2% year over year. So from 2024 to 2025, our assessment revenues were down by about 4.2%. And a lot of that was also due to the really strong year we had in 2024 with real estate transfer assessments. On the expense side, we take a very disciplined approach to our spending. When we build our budget, we tend to be very conservative with our revenue and very realistic with regards to our expenses. And I have to give credit to our finance team, because they really hold our feet to the fire when it comes to our spending. But overall, last year, our expenses were favorable to budget by 5.1%, or $1.2 million. So favorable to budget on revenues and expenses. That allows us to have an operating surplus, which we can then use that money to invest at a higher level into the community. And I'll explain how we're doing that shortly. And last but not least, we do have an investment strategy, because we do continue to invest whatever funds we have in the bank. And we have a very strict investment strategy that we follow closely, and with the guidance of our board of directors and our finance committee. Okay, so our 2026 proposed budget You'll see, as I said, we have some conservative budget assumptions with slight increases, 1 to 2% in civic lodging and mountain recreation. That's based on what we know our 2025 actuals were. We have a very conservative real estate transfer assessment projection, and we're projecting down 14%. Again, we feel like that's an appropriate number, and we would love to see that number better than that. It's worth calling out here that as we look at Civic in particular, we do have some fun new stores coming into the village. House of Cuckoo, maybe some of you have seen, is down in the old North Face space. That's a classic Western wear, jewelry, boots, hats, kinds of things. If you haven't been in, I encourage you to go check it out. It's a great addition to the village. We also have the North Face Summit Series is in right by the covered bridge. That's a elevated North Face brand. And we have Minturn Whiskey Speakeasy, which is going in just below us here in the Hyatt, and that'll be open before the holiday season. And they're going to partner with a clothing product called the Malibu Ski Club. So they'll have their speakeasy in the back of the Malibu Ski Club store. So that speaks to our revenue projections for the year. And then on the expense side, like I said, we try and be very realistic, but we do have a lot of things that we're spending money on and to invest in the community. So we are budgeting our operating expenses to increase by about 8.7% year over year. Still well within our budgeted revenue, but we're increasing those expenses this year. And the most impactful increases in the line items are of marketing and PR, village activations and events, and property maintenance. So we expect to see more and more investment in those areas moving forward. So as I've pointed out through this piece, that we tend to have revenues that exceed our expenses. That's been the case for the last many years, which gives us an operating surplus. That leads to a situation where we have that surplus to really invest in the community. So we set out to really develop a long-term plan with the following objectives. Number one, we wanted to make sure we had a plan that would allow us to maintain the high level of services expected in our world-class resort community. We also wanted to make sure that we could refrain from ever needing any outside debt. As recently as 5 years ago, we maintained a line of credit that we dipped into from time to time. We believe we'll be able to avoid that moving forward. We want to be able to continue to enhance our resort assets by funding investments into the community that will define the future of our resort. And we also might want to make sure we maintain a certain level of financial flexibility. So those were our objectives in building a plan. And as we built the plan, we came up with a plan that had 3 key components. The first component is our maintenance reserve. This maintenance reserve is based on the most comprehensive reserve study that we've ever done here in Beaver Creek. It ensures that we'll have the necessary funding for many years to come. It goes out 30 years, that we'll have the necessary funding to repair and replace any of our assets as those needs come available. We'll continue to update that plan every 3 years to make sure that we have the appropriate amount of funding, that all of our new assets are included, and to make sure that we're closely monitoring the useful life of all of our assets. And you think about what are our assets, you can think about things like the escalators, all the boilers that run our snowmelt systems, the toros that run around the village, the chillers that run the ice rink. Those are all assets, and those are all the kinds of things that are captured in this maintenance reserve study. The next piece is our strategic capital. Clint Huber is going to talk a bit more about this, but we are very focused on modernizing the resort wherever we can. And we want to make sure that we're attracting new guests, and that modernization is really helping us do that. Over the next 5 years, we're going to really continue to build on the success we've had over the last few years. And for those of you who are unaware, since 2022, we have invested $11 million into the resort, and we'll continue to invest at that rate moving forward. And that includes a lot of great projects like Creekside Park, Hawks Nest Cabin, and a variety of other projects, including the comprehensive resort-wide lighting program that we've had going on for the last few years. So you'll hear more about those details from Clint here shortly. And the last component of this plan is our general fund. And the general fund is a really important piece of the puzzle because it allows us to minimize exposure to any seasonal cash flow fluctuations. It allows us, like I said, it avoids the need to incur any debt. And it also allows us to avoid a common assessment. A common assessment is something that we don't often do here in Beaver Creek, but when we had an economic downturn in 08 and 09, we did have common assessments in 2010 and 2011 in excess of $1 million each year. So what might those declines look like? Looking historically, in 08, our revenue decreased by 30%. In 09, our revenue decreased by 34%. And in 2020, with COVID, our revenue decreased by 24%. So by having this strategic plan looking forward, we are going to be able to continue to fund the resort and keep things operating at a world-class level moving forward. So this is generally what this looks like. I'm not going to go into too many of the details here, but what you can see here is we've got a general fund, we've got our maintenance reserve, and we've got our strategic capital. And we're sitting in a pretty strong position today, which allows us to continue to invest in all these areas moving forward. One thing that's noteworthy here is you might look at the maintenance reserve and see after 5 years, we still have a balance of $7 million. That feels like a lot. But when you look at what that really means, it means we're going to invest in everything we need to in the next few years, in the next 5 years. But over the following 10 years, we're going to need to invest $18.5 million to maintain the resort for our reserve study. So yes, we're building that reserve now, so we're sure we can continue to maintain the resort and meet the standards that have been established here. And then last but not least, we'll take a quick look at our strategic initiatives projects. I don't want to go into too much detail because, again, I don't want to steal Clint's thunder, but we do have a very comprehensive plan looking forward for the next 5 years of strategic investments in the community. And the 5 years is a pretty standard plan. You come up with a 5-year plan, but 5 years also marks a really important moment in Beaver Creek's history. 2030 is going to be the 50th anniversary of the resort. So we're very much focused on what do we want the resort to look like in 2030. And to speak a little more to that, I'm going to turn it over to Clint Huber, our Director of Economic Development, to tell us a bit more about what's going on. Thank you.
All right. Yes, thank you for that introduction. At BCRC, economic development brings together certain key responsibilities of BCRC and aligns resort modernization, capital projects, marketing, village experiences, and business initiatives under a unified, cohesive vision with 3 simple strategic imperatives: drive revenue, support a world-class village experience, and build community economic partnership. Here's why it makes sense to bring all those functions together. An amazing guest experience plus a differentiated experience, things that make Beaver Creek truly special, drive loyalty. A significant number of our guests are strongly loyal to Beaver Creek and come back year after year. That loyalty plus effective marketing, telling the story of these amazing and differentiated experiences to the right audience, brings more people here. That's demand and volume for our resort. Demand and volume brings revenue to the businesses of our resort and supports property values. The assessment revenues that we receive are then reinvested back into guest experience and brand differentiation. The components of this virtuous cycle are what we think about and execute upon every single day. One of those components you just heard about is marketing. We are elevating Beaver Creek's marketing capabilities. In addition to a partnership with Vail Resorts that leverages the industry's best marketing techniques to drive volume in winter, BCRC as an organization also needs to grow and adapt to the new ways that guests receive information and make their travel decisions. We are in the process to rapidly develop capabilities we need to more effectively understand and reach our target audiences with our compelling messages. Some of these capabilities include advanced customer relationship management systems delivering deep insights and personalized outreach, automated data-driven campaigns targeting key guest segments, real-time analytics to fine-tune strategies instantly, and a cohesive strategy that seamlessly integrates new tools to ensure smart and efficient use of technology. And we can use all of these new capabilities to tell our very compelling stories. Things like the strategic initiatives and projects that are creating new experiences and new spaces in the resort. Beaver Creek Inspire has been the name for our portfolio of impactful capital projects, but it can't just be BCRC alone to accomplish any of these. Beaver Creek Inspire is a community-wide effort led by BCRC, Vail Resorts, commercial businesses, and property owners, all committed to sustaining the world-class experiences our guests love. Each project we've done and are planning to do are in support of research-based priorities to thoughtfully improve and modernize our resort experience in the most impactful areas. Increased maintenance, transformed evening experience, engaging spaces for families and teens, modern design elements, expanded summer activities, improved skier drop-off and parking, convenient technology, inclusivity and accessibility, and updated signage and wayfinding. Our capital strategy identifies projects that address these priorities, but what's important about Beaver Creek Inspire is that every project aligns with and manifests signature qualities that make Beaver Creek special. That's how we can confidently modernize and enhance the resort while staying true to the character and soul of Beaver Creek. We've identified the following defining characteristics of Beaver Creek. We think about and live these every single day, so it's important to share them. Connection to the natural alpine environment. Nowhere else has the natural environment been integrated with development as well as it is here in Beaver Creek. A sense of discovery, exploration, and adventure as you're driving up Village Road and the mountain views unfold before you as you're walking through our promenade and our plaza in our village, and the village visually unfolds in front of you. Our different levels all contribute to a strong sense of discovery, exploration, and adventure. A sense of belonging for families. Beaver Creek always has been oriented towards families, so we really lean into that. Unique gathering spaces for all. Think about our fire pits. Think about all the comfortable furniture that we have. Think about Creekside Park. That's very unique and special to us. Distinct village architecture. Connection to birds of prey and adventure mountain sports. High touch and frictionless guest experiences is what we're so strongly known for. And of course, one of our resort brand pillars, legendary attention to detail. So looking back at how well we've demonstrated this in a capital strategy. Beaver Creek Inspire was introduced 4 years ago, and since then, BCRC has invested over $11 million in improvements, and that doesn't count millions more in improvements by business and property owners with projects that are consistent with Beaver Creek Inspire. Major BCRC projects include Creekside Park, Hawk's Nest Cabin, upgraded spaces like the Creekside patio near the covered bridge, evening vibrancy with world-class ambient and interactive lighting, the Eager Beaver Adventure Company scavenger hunt. And looking forward, we're in the process of planning to continue that success with projects like Ice Rink and Core Village upgrades, summer activities and lawn space at the mountain base, executing our accessibility master plan, and enhanced signage and wayfinding. So just to take a moment right now and celebrate the success of Creekside Park and its opening day in June of this year, I'm going to share a video. The opening of Creekside Park is a major milestone for Beaver Creek and the Beaver Creek Resort Company. Okay, go ahead, Kathleen. Cut the ribbon and open Creekside Park. Woo! I think I saw a few people in that video that are here in the audience today, some cameos. Thank you very much for the partnership to bring that project to life. It's something that we're very, very proud of and we'll enjoy for years to come. So in addition to our capital projects, village activations and amenities are critical to that enhanced and differentiated guest experience. Over the summer, BCRC featured Creekside Park with free activations including outdoor yoga and wellness session 5 days a week, guided nature walks, birds of prey demonstrations, and music concerts at the pavilion. Additionally, we operated a best-in-class Young Explorers Kids Day Camp, which includes activities throughout the resort and other mountain adventures like paddleboarding, zip lines, rafting, and more. And BCRC's guided hiking operation continues to enrich hiking experiences customized for every skill. The clicker, can you advance? Thanks. This winter will continue to offer curated activations and entertainment 7 days a week, including live music, caricatures, family fun fest, fossil posse, entertainers, and more. BCRC provides the cookie time experience at 3 p.m. every day, clearly a differentiator you won't find anywhere else. Hawks Nest Cabin is the premier alpine hangout for kids ages 10 to 18. There's games, music, ski simulator, interactive dance floor, signature mocktails, and cozy seating. Thursday Night Lights is our signature glow ski down with fireworks and a DJ. And our ice rink is open for ice skating, of course, and it becomes a magical village hub after dark with vibrant lighting and video projection. The Eager Beaver Adventure Company scavenger hunt is an interactive journey throughout the village and comes with a souvenir cookie compass and workbook, fun for the whole family. So I just went through a lot of those activations very quickly, but there is a place you can get specific information about the times, locations, and details about all the and more. It's the Beaver Creek Village app, your go-to source about everything happening in Beaver Creek, including information on restaurants, shopping, events, and more. You can find it in the Apple App Store or Google Play under BC Village. Speaking of events, I'll turn it over to Krista De Herrera, our Director of Events. Thank you very much.
Good morning. What a great bunch. We're so excited to see all of this snow because that's just going to make all the difference this winter. Clicker. So I'd like to get started by just talking about the general objectives of the events department. So our objectives are in line with the BCRC mission as well as the economic development objectives to create vibrancy in the village, support business, and create lasting memories. It is also to continue to elevate the BC brand in the existing events, as well as ideate new opportunities in the village as we move forward, leading up to, yes, in 2030, the 50th anniversary of our resort, which we are very excited about. This winter, we have 4 events that we have, one of which has taken place the opening weekend. We had a record number of submissions for cookies for the cookie competition. We had a crowned winner. Of course, she won last year. The brown butter cookie must have been the best one because she won again this year. But we also created an incredible environment in the village. Even though we didn't necessarily have skiing that day here, we had a huge number of people. Then, of course, everybody enjoyed Turkey Day and came back on Friday for our tree lighting. And we had a holiday craft market up at the Hawks Nest Cabin. We had Santa Claus came to visit for 2 days. We had record numbers around the rink and an incredible ice skating spectacular. Hopefully everybody made it down and saw that show. And then, of course, a really wonderful fireworks show that really rained in. We had a little bit of snow that night, but the next day was the kicker with the big snow. The next thing that we have coming up, of course, is Birds of Prey. My team is a big supporter of outside promoters within the village. We support not only the VVF, of course, with Birds of Prey, but some other promoters would be like the VRD, and in years past, we've had Xterra. So that's our team that helps support those additional events that come into the village. I will let the VVF Vail Valley Foundation group talk more a little bit about Birds of Prey. Following that, we'll have New Year's Eve. Our New Year's Eve spectacular this year is a Circus of Light. We start out with the ski down, which last year, I believe we had 500 people in the ski down, which is a huge number, at least the biggest number since I've been here in the 4 years. And then we top it off with aerialists and acrobats and light and just so much going on. We call it surprise and delight on steroids in the village. The hope is that it encourages people to move around within the village, make reservations in our restaurants, shop, and enjoy without any kind of harnessed schedule for the evening. And then, of course, at 10 o'clock, we do a second fireworks display in line with the New Year's Eve or the New York City ball drop. Following that, we have an incredible kind of fun event called Pop-Up Opera. This is our nod to our culinary brand here in Beaver Creek. We partner with our in-resort restaurants. They do an amuse-bouche or an appetizer. We actually have those chefs serve inside of our retail stores. And then we put some live music for some ambiance in the village. It's been a really big success. We started it a couple of years ago with Winter Culinary and just kept that vibe going. This year in January, we're going with a high-end culinary feel for January with a jazz band. February, we're giving a nod to New Orleans with sort of a Mardi Gras theme in line with what's going on down in the Villar. And then in March, of course, comfort food and some form of a decades band. More to come on all of those details as the planning progresses. And then last but not least, this winter, we have Talents Challenge. As of right now, as of about 10 minutes ago, I just checked ticket sales. We opened on the 26th. We have sold 82 tickets. Master of the Mountain, which is our tops, is one of our newest ticket options. You can ski both days. We've sold 29 tickets, 46 for Saturday and 7 for Sunday, which is a great track. We haven't sold that many up front since I started here. So we're really excited about the traction for that event. If you're not familiar with Talents Challenge, it is a challenge to ski all of our expert terrain, 14 of our expert terrain runs in the course of one day, or if you have the legs, 2 days in a row. So if you're interested, please register for Talents Challenge. It is also in partnership with our field marketing manager. So I'm just going to throw a nod to Charlie Carpenter, who is the mountain events guru for Beaver Creek. New Year's Eve, I talked a little bit about. Here's the schedule of events. If you have any interest in this event and want to get out into the village, of course, you can find more information on the BC app. Pop-up opera, I talked about a little bit, January 8th, February 5th, and March 5th. Loosely first Thursdays. And then, of course, Talents Challenge. If you do register before December 19th, you can get $10 off your registration fee. We did stagger the pricing for Talents Challenge this year. So Saturday is the hot commodity. So it's a little bit increased price. And then Sunday's a little bit more of a decreased price for the second day. Summer events. Can't give the spoiler alert on who the talent is this summer. We will announce that March 1st, but I can tell you it is a really, really great lineup of entertainers from the Blues Brews and Barbecue Entertainment. We will do the demo stage again this year with top level chefs, and it will be culinary barbecue Colorado style. And then of course, the talent is the best of the best coming here to Beaver Creek. Then Independence Day, we're doing kind of a classic rock Americana feel for that event. It is the 150th anniversary of our Centennial State, also the 250th anniversary of our country in 2026. So we will do subtle nods at every summer event this year to celebrate that milestone. Independence Day, again, is a full day of activities and fun from a kids area to our kids stage and then our main event stage and everything in between. BC Unplugged has been, this is what, our fourth summer, if you can believe that, fourth summer for BC Unplugged, every Thursday, 5:30 to 7, mid-June through mid-September. Again, the lineup is all over the place from country to rock and roll to bluegrass this year. We're kind of dabbling with a little bit of everything. That's what makes it so fun. Again, BC Unplugged is all national touring artists coming here to Beaver Creek. Then we have Colorado Showcase, which is all Colorado bands. Those take place on Saturdays from 5:30 to 7. And then, of course, Oktoberfest, which is our pinnacle at the end of the summer on Labor Day weekend. This year, because of the centennial anniversary, we have received a grant or a drone show, which will be on the Friday night of Oktoberfest, which will be really, really exciting to kind of celebrate that fantastic event with a really great support from the Colorado Tourism Office. And then also not listed on there, we have our Creekside Concert Series. We started this last summer. We had 4 concerts, including the BCPOA picnic, all which were received very, very well. So we are continuing that trend this next year. And we are doing 6 concerts. We're doing 2 in June, 2 in July, 2 in August. And I hope you all come out and enjoy some great low-key, but very fun music in Creekside Park at the Pavilion. And I'd like to now hand it over to Bobby Murphy, our illustrious Vice President.
Thank you, Krista. Morning, everybody. How we doing? Awesome. Thanks, Jeff. Yes, my name is Bobby Murphy, Chief Operating Officer, and also the president of the board here with the BCRC. I just want to take a minute just to go back and just acknowledge the presentation that Jim gave earlier. The Beaver Creek Resort Company has never been in a stronger position, financially for sure, but also from a leadership perspective. So I just want to take a second to recognize Jim Clancy, our executive director, for everything he's done with his leadership and the team that he's built between Krista, Clint, Nick, and Clint. The senior team and the direction we have right now with our leadership is in an amazing spot. So thank you so much, Jim and the team. And I know we have quite a few resort company employees in the room. Can you stand up for just a second and see this? This is the team that makes the magic happen within Beaver Creek. So thank you. Another round of applause for the team. Thanks. Awesome. I know many of you probably recognize my broken record of who we are, what we're about, but I have told people you have to hear things at least 7 times for it to sink in. And if you're presenting it to someone else, then you really, really remember these things. So our vision to be the world's best luxury family resort is what I wake up with every day. It's what our employees are trained to. That's what we as a village mountain base focus on, is being the world's best luxury family resort. And our guests have told us that Beaver Creek is the luxury destination where families fall in love with skiing and riding. You think about our signature parks between the Hay Meadow, Red Buffalo, McCoy over the last couple of years being new to the mountain. These are places that people go, learn to ski and ride, and improve their abilities on our mountain because it is such a special place. So that core of us being the world's best luxury family resort is what we're about. The brand pillars, Clint spoke briefly about one, the legendary attention to detail. Like what you're willing to walk past is what you're willing to accept. And when you walk through the village, you walk through Beaver Creek, we're not walking by much. We're focused on the details, legendary attention to detail. Creekside Park, some of the capital improvements we've made over the years are significant, and those attention to detail around those areas are so key. I just think of the flowers. Anybody who walks through Beaver Creek in the summer, that attention to detail when it comes to flowers is amazing. Us being perpetual hosts is another brand spire of ours. We want people to feel welcome when they come to Beaver Creek. That 20-10-5 rule of eye contact, smile, engagement, welcoming people to an amazing place that we call home and we get to work and play in. And last but not least, rarefied experiences. We talk about this often. You've seen all the amazing events. Birds of Prey is about to kick off here in the next few days. Everything we do around the rarefied experiences separates Beaver Creek from other places in the ski industry and other places, frankly, around the world when it comes to luxury destination resorts. Not exactly roughing it. It's our tagline. You saw it at the end of that video just a few minutes ago with Creekside Park. Not exactly roughing it. It's a little tongue in cheek, but it's so true to what we are, right? People don't rough it when they come to Beaver Creek. It's not exactly roughing it. So with that, I'm going to transition to just introducing a few people, 2 that are new to Beaver Creek. One is our Vice President of Mountain Operations, Tony Santoro, who's just joined us recently. Dan Ramker has done an amazing job with us over the last handful of years. His transition to Breckenridge, and is doing amazing things over there. He still continues to sit on our board. But Tony Santoro, I know you're in the room. I just want to introduce you really quick. Thank you for being part of Beaver Creek coming forward. And a person who's not in the room, who many of you will get a chance to meet, is Robin Barnes, who is our new Senior Director of Skier Services and Ski and Ride School. She comes from Heavenly out in Tahoe. Tony joins us from the Mid-Atlantic and Jack Frost Big Boulder. Also before that, Hidden Valley in Missouri, and Park City before that. So between the 2 new leaders we have on the team, really, really excited for the upcoming year. You get to hear from a few more on our team here with some more updates around the mountain in the village and culinary here at Beaver Creek. So with that, I'm going to transition it, I believe, to our next speaker. Oh, I get to do the clicker. Look at that. To Lee Hoover, our Senior Director of Resort Operations. Lee, thanks, everybody.
Morning, everyone. Aaron, maybe next year some walk-up music, right? Like why not? Why not? It's great to be up here as we kick off our winter season here in Beaver Creek. I'm going to talk about two areas, transportation and parking. I'll start with transportation. First, our transportation department is run by Paul Gorbel. I think he snuck out of the room, but you'll get a chance to meet him later. He works tirelessly on operating our transportation service here in Beaver Creek. And if you're wondering about our transportation and if we receive a lot of feedback on it, the answer is absolutely. We do receive a lot of feedback on it. And we take that feedback seriously. Our goal is to constantly improve our transportation operations here in Beaver Creek. So whether or not it's a comment in our Village Connect app, whether or not it's a comment at a board meeting, we certainly want to hear what you're seeing, what you're experiencing out there. Again, our goal is just to make these steady, constant improvements in our transportation department. A couple noteworthy things for this year with our village transportation. We are seeing favorable hiring over last year. As we've worked with Mr. Luker over the years, one thing that is going to help us continue to get better is to have more drivers in the seats of our buses. And we are looking to do that this year. So hiring continues to go well for us. We were able to secure some more housing for our transportation drivers as well. So that is definitely a win. We've been utilizing third-party contractors. We'll continue to do so. We do that in a couple ways. One, we put them on our employee shuttles or some of our parking lot loops. We put them on those during busier times and also throughout the years. And then what we do is our tenured, experienced employees, we focus them on our Village Connect. They know the ins and outs of our community and are able to navigate it a little better. So we utilize the contract employees for some of these set parking lot and employee routes, and then our own employees for the Village Connect. And then our operations, as far as hours, will continue as they have in the past. Village Connect from 7 a.m. till midnight. We will run Village Connect until 2 a.m. on New Year's Eve. So it will not be midnight on New Year's Eve, but 2 a.m. And then our parking lot service goes from 5:30 a.m. until 1:30 a.m. And then transitioning over to parking, Kobe Kenny, who's in the room here, runs our parking department along with Kelly. A couple of things with parking. We're not seeing any changes to our parking rates. We did make an adjustment to our parking rates 2 years ago. We saw an increase in our lower lots and our garages. We do not have any planned increases for our parking rates this year. And then the Elk and Bear lot, those are our lower lots. They will continue to be free after 1 p.m. So after 1 p.m., those entry gates go up for people to park in the Elk and Bear lot. A change that we made last year that I do want to bring to this group is we had 3 hours free after 3 p.m. Last year, we adjusted it to 4 hours free after 4 p.m. The why behind that and what we're seeing is, one, it gives our guests another hour in the village to shop at our retailers, to visit our F&B without a charge to parking. So hopefully there's a benefit to our merchant group. And then also between the 3 and 4 o'clock hour, on those peak times, the garages were full anyway. That's a transition period. And so there wasn't per se any available parking for guests that come in between that 3 and 4 o'clock hour. So thanks for joining me today. Looking forward to a great season. And up next, we have Chris Whitney, who's our Director of Mountain Operations here.
All right. Good morning, everybody. How are we doing? Well, I'll start with, I have the best job on the mountain, except when the weather happens like it did this past year. So anyways, this is a beautiful graphic my former boss, Dan, put together that I think really kind of represents what we're trying to do here at Beaver Creek. Obviously, the vision was to connect 3 intimate alpine villages. And the color coding here kind of represents the phases that we try and do that in based off the system we have and the resources that are available to us. So what I will say is we are still a little bit on the tail end of the green phase, finishing up the hay meadow, some of the chair 2 wraparound, as well as well, no, that's pretty much it on the green phase. We're heavy into the red phase, with snowmaking active right now on Sawbuck, Stacker P Fords, as well as the connection from the top of 9 to the bottom of chair 8. And then we're sprinkling in a little bit of the blue phase. So lower Dowie to get back to our shop. And then we'll be expanding, shortly as this weather window looks good for the next 5 to 7 days. Just for some context, from this year to last year, it obviously looks a little bit different out there until about 6 days ago. Our settled base is about 80% less than it was this time last year. And also our natural snowfall is about 80% less than it was last year. So the weather has not been cooperating up until recently. With that said, our teams are being as efficient as they can and as dedicated as they can to capture every single operating window we have to put on our snowmaking and ensuring we get as much gallons to hill as possible. Something new this year that our grooming team did take on was kind of crunching some data, looking at our grooming strategy. And so something we are going to roll out when we have completed this entire opening progression through phase 5, which typically happens between the middle to end of January, is looking at 3 pillars. So consistent, trying to groom all 37 trails every single night. That is pretty much represented here, except for a couple natural snow trails in both McCoy Park and at the top of Red Buffalo Park. And then having repeatable, predictable cadence for some of our specialty trails that maybe have been more on a random cadence in years past. So we're shooting to have Kestrel on Friday, Golden Eagle from the top of 9 down on Saturdays, and then Raven Ridge to lower Golden Eagle on Sundays. Obviously, be patient with us. That's a plan that we're hoping to put into action for the last 12 weeks of the season, kind of starting at that mid to end of January standpoint. And then the last part of that is maintenance. We have to put trails back into shape. Our most popular trails, Gold Dust, Latigo, Sawbuck, Cresta, Little Brave, those all are heavily trafficked, and snow by skiers and snowboarders is pushed out to the side and down the hill. So what we do on that Sunday through Wednesday when our skier traffic's going to be a little bit less, we're going to focus on maintaining those trails on a regular cadence so that they're staying in shape and then be able to increase that grooming going into the weekend when we know we're going to see higher numbers. And that's really all I've got. So let's think cold, let's think snow, and really appreciate everyone's time this morning. Thank you.
Morning, everyone. Anthony Yelamos, your Director of Food and Beverage, and I'm here to give you some updates on the things that we're doing that I'm extremely excited about. First of all, I want to mention that food and beverage touches somewhere around 50% of the skiers in the mountain. That's a very large number of people that we can actually make a difference and create that experience that Bobby was talking to us about. That's a lot of us. And also, obviously, if you think about ski school, a ski instructor can spend 6 hours creating that experience. That's a lot of time to be able to make that difference. But retail is also another one. But also we spend probably about 45 minutes to 3 hours with those guests, which is a lot of time that we have the opportunity to really create that amazing experience that Beaver Creek is all about. So without further ado, we are continuing what we started last year with outlet identity. I think this is an initiative that really is making a difference. We created last year different identities to the different venues that we run in the mountain. And I think that guests really appreciate that. There really is a focus on, okay, I can go to Spruce Saddle to get this, and I can go to Talons to get that. And Mammy's is doing this that nobody else is doing in the mountain. That's the focus that we started last year. We are continuing this very strongly, and I think that creates a sense of identity that somehow was missing before. And but this year the focus is on Spruce Saddle. Spruce Saddle is central station for Beaver Creek. Everyone stops by Spruce Saddle at one point or another. So we wanted to really make a big difference there. Last year we started and we did a renovation of the Scramble, all the stations, the food stations that we are producing and serving food from. And this year we actually expanded that renovation to the different areas at Spruce Saddle. You can see here, we didn't have a fireplace before. We do now. It's not a real one, but it really makes a difference creating that upgraded experience at Beaver Creek. So basically, we focused on three different things. We actually have a new food concept that we started here at Beaver Creek, and it's kind of a trial for the rest of the company. It's called Bread and Company, and it's based on deli sandwiches. The other thing is we renovated the bar upstairs. The bar was very tired, and we gave it a nice little facelift. And I think it's something that right now, it's a much better experience overall for those that want to sit at the bar and have a drink. And the other thing is we did a lot of we changed quite a bit the walls. We created these wall art themes at the different places at Spruce Saddle. We did not want to get rid of those iconic pictures that we've had for quite some time. Because we thought that those were important to the history of the valley and the history of Beaver Creek. We simply relocated them, but right now we have some fresh modern art in some places with actually art from local artists, which I think it speaks very nicely. So those are the changes at Spruce Saddle. Eaton House, we actually are doing a little bit of an upgrade at Eaton House. We gave it a little bit more of a look of what we call the outpost, and it really is an outpost there because it's kind of remote. There are limitations there. We don't have running water there, so there's just so much we can do from a food and beverage standpoint because running water is critical to be able to cook and even serve and prepare some food. So still is going to be limited, but definitely a better option. It's kind of remote there. So if once you're there, it's hard to get to any other places. So we want to make sure that all the families and skiers and riders that are there have the right choices if they want to stay there. So that's basically it in terms of renovations, but I do want to mention a few things. Citria specifically, we started brunch Saturdays and Sundays, and it's been a great success. So we will continue brunch Saturdays and Sundays throughout the winter. In fact, now it is already, it's all set in a stone. So we're going to continue that. That was very, very important. And I thought it creates that experience in the village that no one else is actually doing. So I think that was a good addition. In addition to that, I want to remark that Chef Ryan Little was voted this summer as best chef of the Valley. So please, if you haven't been at Citria for a while, go. The food is really, really amazing. Anyway, so that's that in terms of changes and upgrades for food and beverage in the mountain. But I did want to mention some leadership updates. Nina, who has been with us for 27 years, if you've been with us for quite some time, I'm sure that you know her. She is now taking over all the full service restaurants, so mainly cabins and clubs. So she will be running all of those. We have a new senior leader in Pete. Pete is replacing Nina in the quick service restaurants, in the mountain restaurants, and along with Chad Jarvis, who has been with us for over a year now. A few changes in the front of the house of the cabins. Sarah Beth is going to be the GM at Zach's. But the rest of the back of the house, Jonathan, the chef, stays with us, and he was the chef. He's been with us for several years. He first was the chef at Ali's and now at Zach's. Cooper is being the GM at Beano's for this summer already, so he's not new. But I wanted to mention that as a new addition, since it's going to be his first season with us at winter season with us at Beano's. Jessica has been with us already all summer long at Beaver Creek Golf, and obviously from here on is going to take over Alice. And Ashley is going to be the GM at Talents. So overall, I'm extremely happy and blessed with the management team that I have this year. I think the 3 years that I've been here, this is the strongest team that we have. We still have some challenges with front of house, but with our list, but we are in the better place that we've been since I'm here. So I am extremely excited and very happy. And that's it. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. We got to go quick, right? Go quick. Jim, is that the look? Am I controlling the slides? Okay. Vail Valley Foundation, we're going to move quickly here. I know we need to stay on time, but we have a very broad, interesting mission and incorporated back in 1981. And I think we do a lot of great things that help make this community pretty special. Birds of prey. We'll pause here on this slide. Pretty much everything you see is wrong. There's been a lot of positive remarks about Jim and Bobby today, but the elephant in the room is they get a D- in weather management. And all kidding aside, the only reason Birds of Prey is happening is because the FIS has such trust and respect for Beaver Creek and the mountain operations and race crew and the Talon crew and the Birds of Prey. We are under a significant exception. The minimum requirement for a downhill is 750 meters of vertical drop. The downhill and creative solution we were able to come up with is a modified downhill course that'll be about 650 meters, but the 28 countries that are here to compete, they're willing to accept that. It'll still be part of the FIS points and the globe that they all go after. So amazing. The efforts of Bobby and Ron Rupert and the mountain operations team, it's the only reason why this event didn't get canceled about 10 days ago. So incredibly grateful for that effort. All the festivities are going to be remarkable. Birds of Prey, Jim Clancy, the financial support and all their operational support for everything that happens off the course here in the village. We can't do it without them. So thanks so much, Jim. And just so everyone knows, today is a really important day. We're scheduled for training, for downhill training. You have to have one. It's got to happen today. We have very unsettled weather patterns coming in the next few days. Right now, the schedule is no race on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, downhill Super GGS. We may need to call an audible on that and basically move the Friday race into Thursday, depending on what we're seeing. But that decision will be made probably sometime tomorrow around noon. Okay. Just a few things that else, and I know my colleague Cameron, who runs the Villar Performing Arts Center, he's going to talk to you about the Villar and the winter season coming up. But a couple things that we have going on at the BDF, just a couple of slides of our new Avon Early Childhood Development and Education Center. This fall's been kind of every morning waking up. Just what a blessing to have such incredible weather that allows construction to stay on track and on budget, and at the same time is a complete disaster for the Birds of Prey. So it's been an interesting couple of months, but we remain on track and on budget for this $13.5 million new facility that will serve 165 children aged 0 to 5. The crisis of early child care in Eagle County is significant. Just to give you an example, this facility and 165 spots that will come online by Labor Day of 2026 solves 10% of the problem. So the magnitude of this is about 900 families currently are without any licensed or viable childcare opportunity in the valley. This is an aerial shot, maybe about 7-8 days ago. All of the trusses for the roof system arrive on Thursday. They get craned in by Monday. Hopefully the facility's dried in by maybe a week after New Year's, at which point we are off and running with all the rest of the project. This is a shot of the Gerald R. Ford Amphitheater about maybe 45 days ago. It's a bit surreal that we started phase 1 of the capital improvements for the Ford Amphitheater on October 2nd. Phase 1 is basically an expansion of the production and sound booth, which is up there by the lawn, kind of the top of section 3. All of the original orange seats have been removed. We are right now in the midst of all the concrete work that needs to be done, lots of repairs. New convenience railings, hand railings will go into the pavilion. The new seats get installed in March. We'll be open by the 1st of April for our first concerts of the summer, kind of spring, summer season. And then if anyone want one of the orange seats, well, we can sell them to you. Just so you know, a little trivia, they were donated to us. They're 50 years old. They were donated to us by the Denver Broncos. That's why they're orange. So little cocktail party trivia for you. Yeah. But construction, the next phase of construction really will be the East concessions gets expanded, significant expansion of the box office. And then what you all may think of as call it the main, what we call North concessions, the main bar, that whole facility gets leveled and rebuilt from the ground up into a 2-story structure. It will be a multi-purpose rehearsal studio for Bravo Vale, the greatest musicians on earth, a dance studio, VIP, donor, plaza, private events, you name it. So we're excited. This whole project, phase 1 will be done by Memorial Day of 2026, and we expect the final all construction will be completed by May of 28. There's a picture of the new seats that are going to go in there. This was quite the fascinating process with a lot of competing opinions about what the seats should look like, but we ended up going with a great product. It's very comfortable. They're wide, cushioned. So I think everyone's going to really enjoy it. The other benefit of modern technology, the way we ended up being able to redo all the seats is that the mathematical algorithm ended up gaining us. There's been 1,265 seats in that pavilion. We ended up with 1,310 plus additional 16 for ADA, which is really going to be great for Bravo, for us. More tickets is pretty meaningful. So that's a win. The last thing I'm going to talk about is under our education nonprofit, which is Youth Power 365. We have for about 18 months been looking for land down valley. This will be a new multi-purpose family engagement, youth engagement, and athletic, indoor and outdoor athletic facility. Ideally, we'd like this facility to be in Gypsum. We serve about 4,500 youth every year through Youth Power. A huge percentage of those that we serve all live in the Down Valley communities. This facility is greatly needed. Athletic space, especially during the winter months, is non-existent indoors. And soccer, as one example, is a critical aspect of how we get young people into our programs and get them elevated into the academic improvement and all the other social, emotional, and well-being programs that help enrich their lives. Thank you. Have a great day.
Good morning, everyone. I've got 4 slides for you. Crank right through it. My name's Cameron Morgan. I'm the executive director at DeFlora. Thank you for allowing me to speak with you this morning. As we look at our year in review, really what I need to call out is the thank yous that are necessary to make all of this happen. The resort company, Vail Resorts, the Metro District property owners, Beaver Creek Property Owners Association, and many of the the constituents here in the village and our community that are here in the room. We had a very strong 2025, and looking ahead in terms of programming, great winter season still all coming up. We've got, if you're on our email list, we've actually got 2 shows that are listed here that have not yet been announced, but you'll get an email about them in about an hour. That's Trisha Yearwood and the Wood Brothers. But I want to specifically call out a few areas where we're making some significant investments. Obviously, Birds of Prey this weekend, 2 major concerts on Friday and Saturday night with Big Head Todd and the Monsters coming back again this year, as well as Switchfoot on Saturday. Mardi Gras weekend with 2 nights of Revivalist is a 4-night span there in the first week in February. And then our classical series kind of overall is one of our most significant and ambitious classical series and lineups, anchored by Long Long, one of the really most iconic classical pianists. Back in January, or in January, we'll also have the full 60-person Sinfónica de Minería Orchestra from Mexico. So be sure to check out our lineup on our website, pilarpac.org. As we look at what we supplement, what we kind of add around the core of what we do, that's really arts access. And this slide and the next slide are really about investing in the future. So we have our largest free student matinee program this year with 26 shows. It's 12 more than last year. And our community arts access program continues to expand and evolve as we look to serve more and more folks who may otherwise not be able to enjoy what we do in the performing arts. Like I said, investing in the future, thanks to support from the Metro District, individual donors as well. We've completed over $2 million in capital projects this past year, including the beautiful new upper lobby bar. It's really a spectacular addition. Fits so beautifully in the upper lobby, as well as what you might not see, which are the artist green rooms and dressing room backstage. But if you'd like to take a tour of the facility, if you haven't seen it, please reach out. I'd love to show you around. And that's all I've got. So thank you again, and we really appreciate the support.
I hate to give away the surprise and the anticipated excitement, but I just want to congratulate, as everyone knows, the proxy ballots went out in early October. It was an uncontested election this year, so I just want to congratulate once again Mike Trueblood, Theron Gore, and Bob Baselli for being on our board again. And then also the Class F is an appointed seat, which is Phil Metz and Mr. Bobby Murphy. Welcome back to the board. And then we will go to our Q&A session. We will get to everything, but if we don't, for those online, this is our generic email account. It actually just goes to me. So info@beavercreekresortcompany.com, which is a little easier than remembering my long email. But yeah, we'll get to some Q&As here.
All right. Thanks, Aaron. And just a quick thank you to everybody that presented today. That was a lot of really, really great information. So thank you to everybody for your presentations today. Aaron, I presume you might have had some questions chatted in. So let's start with maybe 1 or 2 of those. I apologize that we don't have a full 30 minutes, but we figured I'm glad we have about 20 minutes for some Q&A right now. Okay. The question, in case you didn't hear, was when was the last reserve study done and how often are they done? So we did the reserve study we're working on right now in 2024, and we will redo that reserve study every 3 years. So we will be on a very common cadence there. So the 2024 reserve study will be redone in 2027. Prior to 2024, I think it was about 8 years since we had a reserve study done on the resort company's assets. So that was a big lift to get that first one done, but from here they should be a little bit more streamlined. You want to see if is there any questions from the folks in the room? Ma'am, I see you with your hand back there.
I've had a great experience. Overnight where you have a little gas in your driveway. You know, it's a pretty cool product.
Excellent, excellent. So for those online, in case you didn't hear the question, first of all, there was kudos given to the transportation department, and we appreciate that because they do a great job and they often hear feedback, but it's great to hear some compliments as well. Then with regards to the second question was related to available overnight parking. So I'm going to ask Kobe to maybe just answer that, and I'll repeat the answer, or maybe we'll get him a mic.
We can do this.
We do not advertise overnight parking because we don't have sufficient overnight parking. In a situation where a homeowner has a bigger vehicle or an additional guest, if you stop by the reception center, we can give them a hang tag for their vehicle. We will direct them to park in the lot in an area that has a smaller impact on snow removal from the parking lot. It also allows us to get in contact with you in case we need that vehicle moved. So yeah, we don't have a process where it's like any overflow parking come down, but we can definitely make some arrangements. There's not, no.
Excellent. I see one other question here in the room, sir. Thank you. I'm going to let Bobby answer that, but I'll repeat the question real quick for everyone online. The question had to do with the volume of yellow jackets on the mountain and the perception that maybe that's been reduced over time over the last 25 years. And we'll let Bobby answer that as it relates to moving forward.
David, good to see you. You could ask me this question anytime. But thank you for bringing it up. Yeah, so we have not reduced that staff. That staff has been the same over time. It does report to and is part of the ski patrol program and rolls up to Addie McCord. So I would say that we strategically position these folks on the higher density or where there's more volume. So you may not see them on areas that it's a little bit slower or areas that you wouldn't see the traffic. But typically Gold Dust, in Latigo areas and down through the village area, you may see them also in the Bachelor Gulch areas there with the congestion that we can have in some pinch points. But yeah, it hasn't been reduced. I had some great feedback. I don't know who's been on the Hill the last couple of days, but we've had quite a presence out there for opening. And given that we're reduced in our footprint, and so we have got more people in a smaller area, but that has not changed, and it'll continue to be a focus for us in strategic areas, not all over, but in the right areas. But thanks for the question.
Excellent. Okay, let's take one from online, Aaron.
We have a question from Miss Drake, and it goes, I'm sure that there has been consideration, but wondering if it's possible to have a convenient bus service to Vail, either using the Village Connect shuttles or have them connect with a bus at the Beaver Creek entry gate near the information center.
Great news.
I know, isn't there? Great news.
Well, I referenced in my earlier presentation core transit and how beneficial that's been to the community. So throughout the winter, and I think it started, Bobby, you and I were texting about this last week, but I think it started about last week. And there is a daily shuttle that runs, I think, about every 20 to 30 minutes from Beaver Creek. It has a stop in Avon, and then it goes directly to Vail Village. So it's a skier express between Vail and Beaver Creek,
Yep.
and it's a direct route with one stop in Avon.
That's right. I'll give you some more details. So it picks up in Beaver Creek Village at the covered bridge on the hour, on the 20 and the 40. So it's every 20 minutes, and it does stop both in Lions Head and Vail Village. and then comes back, obviously. So it runs throughout the day, starts at 7 a.m. It's a great, and it's free. Thank you, Brian. Yes, it's free. It's a great service. People used it quite a bit.
We'll do one more
Or
online. Great
online.
question.
How do we tell people how to get to Creekside Park?
How do we tell people how to get to Creekside Park? Well, the easiest way to find Creekside Park is to follow the creek from the village down across Avondale Road into Creekside Park. And what's interesting is the creek actually splits, and the land that the park sits on, it has the creek running on both sides of it. But if you come across the covered bridge from the bus area and walk down along the creek, there's sidewalks. There's two sidewalks that come through the village, and then that sidewalk goes down across Avondale and follows straight down into Creekside Park. So hopefully that's good enough directions. But yeah. So anyway, now we've got a question in the room here, and we're getting this.
Based on the yellow jackets, I'd like to know the percentage of accidents on the hill that include a snowboarder, and if they could have a run for snowboarders only.
Okay. Was everybody able to hear that? And I'm going to hand that one over to Bobby, as that's a mountain related question.
So I don't have specific percentages. I think you were asking for what the percentages of accidents that happen on the mountain, or the numbers. So I can't provide that for you. We will not have a snowboarder only run. We're an inclusive resort in mountain, and we try to provide access for everyone on every trail. But thank you for the question and interest in that information.
Okay, let's do one more online, and then we'll come over here.
We have one here. What has been the revenue of Hawk's Nest Cabin been before construction versus after? My experience is that has not been very crowded on typical nights.
That's a great question. Obviously, the Hawk's Nest was a significant investment in the community. I apologize, I don't have the exact cost for that project on top of mind. But when we brought the Hawk's Nest online, we recognized that it was going to be a resort amenity, and it wasn't necessarily designed to be a profit center, but we really wanted it to be a productive resort amenity. What we have seen over the 2 years that it's been operating and going into the third year is that it's gaining momentum. We knew that first year was largely a proof of concept. And if you talk to the staff, I think I saw Riley in the room. If you talk to the staff, what he's starting to see is people come back year over year that are really excited, and they're building their plans into their trips to make sure that they're visiting the Hawk's Nest. So we're seeing more of that. And then the other thing that we're seeing a lot more is requests for buyouts. So that people can rent the facility for a birthday party, or we've done some corporate events there. I believe the foundation is going to use it for a donor event during Birds of Prey, maybe on Friday night. I don't have that committed to memory, but there's a lot of ancillary uses, but the primary use is a teen space. We're seeing that momentum really pick up. Like I said, it's a resort amenity, but it's proven to be a very, very useful one, and one that's been very well received by our guests and residents. Okay, we have another question in the room here.
Yeah, you referenced earlier fire mitigation, and I was wondering if maybe somebody could give us kind of an overview of what's been done the last few years. Obviously, insurance rates, lack of insurance, people leaving the insurance market in the valley, et cetera. And if this isn't the proper forum, maybe there's some place that I could get access to that.
Sure. I'll answer your question at a high level. And if you would like more data, we can certainly provide it. But there's been really what we focus on with the Metro District on this effort is we partner with the Eagle River Fire Protection District, and they develop a plan for forest health, right? So that they try and get a lot of the dead undergrowth out of the forest surrounding Beaver Creek, knowing that if we have a healthy forest, it's less likely to burn. One of the great things about this effort is it's been consistent between Beaver Creek, Bachelor Gulch, and Arrowhead. So the whole footprint of the resort has been very invested in this. So our counterparts in Arrowhead with the Arrowhead Vale Association, Arrowhead Metro District, Bachelor Gulch Village Association, and Bachelor Gulch Metro District have been equally investing in this effort. We have received recognition as a FireWise community, which is helpful. It doesn't help necessarily with all insurance, but it should be helpful. And then another step that we're taking is if any individuals get a fire mitigation report done for their personal property, and that can come either from the county or the fire district, we are streamlining the process to get that through the DRB so you can go ahead and move forward and get that work done ASAP. So that's another step that we're taking, encouraging homeowners to get that analysis done on their individual properties. So hopefully that helps. It's a bigger question than that, I know, but happy to engage in that at a higher level if you'd like. Aaron, I think I saw one right over here.
Just quickly, I don't know who did it, but I love it. Who made and put together the Helmut statue? I want to thank you. He was a great guy to be around with.
The helmet bronze was a partnership between the resort company and the Beaver Creek Property Owners Association. And we worked together and worked with Michael Paderewski down below us here in the art gallery, reviewed a handful of artists, selected Stephen White as the artist. And that was just about a year ago. We made that selection and we were able to unveil it at Oktoberfest, which was, I mean, you can't ask for a better time and place to unveil a helmet bronze than Oktoberfest. So, yeah, we're moving it around the village and seeing what feels right, and it'll have a permanent home here in due time.
Plus, it would be unfair not to include the 6+ year effort where this was actually born when Nadia was here and Jen Brown was here, that it was Mr. Baselli that pushed this. He started this, he carried it and continued to carry it until it got done. So it took a lot of people to get it done, but it was Baselli that started it.
That's 100% true. Yeah, I think Bob might have mentioned that to me on my third day. Thank you for that. Aaron, how about another one online?
So we have a quick question. Does the resort company own and manage Powder 8? The short answer is no.
No. The Powder 8 is owned and managed by the Park Hyatt.
Another question here is, what is happening with employee housing in the Valley? There has been a shortage, which seems to be driving up labor costs. What are the future plans to address? Future plans to address this?
Okay. Much
You
like
have 4 minutes, Jim.
Much like the fire mitigation question, this is a much bigger question that I can answer in a couple of moments. But there's a lot of efforts being taken place. The town of Avon has been very, very proactive in this effort. I'll back up half a step. I think everyone's probably aware of the volume of employee housing we have within Beaver Creek at the Tarns. There's a lot there, and then there's across Highway 6. There's River's Edge, which those are all owned and operated by Vail Resorts. But a lot of those units are not solely used for Vail Resorts employees. There are units in there that are used by hospital employees and whatnot. Now up to present day, town of Avon has been very active. Eric Heil down there has been leading this charge. And he is working towards some really broad community-wide stakeholder outreach and working towards the formation of a regional housing authority, which would be very beneficial to bringing together all of the parties that are interested in this effort to come up with a comprehensive plan to tackle the problem. They've got a lot of data, and now the question is, how do we really attack this, as opposed to having a series of little one-off projects, really looking at this holistically across the entirety of the valley. So very high level question, lots of big discussions going on. But when we talked earlier about advocacy, this is an area where we are very active and want to have a seat at the table. John, you were at the meeting I was at a few weeks ago. I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
And then do outreach to the community to start getting that feedback, educate all the different communities on, what the different options are. Obviously, funding is going to be a key factor in this solution, but really trying to bring together the different municipalities that are each challenged with this issue and working together collectively in the best way they can. So more to come, but that's really the initiative that's underway right now.
Yeah. And I would add too, that in the resort company's detailed conversations with the county commissioners around the lodging tax matter, tax matter. Bob Baselli and I spoke directly with each of the commissioners, and we committed the resort company to being a part of the solution here. Right now, there's not a very clear plan to what that solution looks like, but we want to be a part of that. We want a seat at the table, and we want to help this community-wide issue find the appropriate solution. So, any other questions here in the room? Seeing none. Aaron, how about one more online? I think we're right there at 10:30. We did. Excellent. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here, and we appreciate it. For our board, we'll maybe take a 5-10 minute break, and then we'll jump into our regular board meeting.
Was online. There is a different link if you're going to stick around. There's the normal link on the website or on the public notice meeting for our regular board meeting. Thank you all.